And away we go here on Yesshift, episode 50, as we review Oliver Wakeman's Boxset collaborations. I'm Dan Schinder.
I'm Steven Schinder.
And we're kind of rocking out.
Yeah, this is Credit Carnival right here. But yeah, we've had this box set for a couple months now. I think we even
really? It's been that long?
Yeah, it came out in April and we interviewed Oliver back in late March, so it's been like 3 months now.
Wow.
But
that's crazy. And by the way, we're going to show more of that clip. It's great. We wanted to use that as our intro, but we're both really excited about reviewing this. We were excited when it was coming out. We were excited to receive it. And I listened to it for the first time on a vacation I took about a month ago with my wife. Perfect setting, driving out in the middle of nowhere. My dog just walked in, a puppy. He may bark at me. Stop. So I may need to jump up and put him out. Stop. Go find Sage.
But yeah, it's what's funny is when I was re-listening to it, listening to it really does make me feel like I'm on a vacation or on holiday or something. It's just that type of relaxing music to me.
Not just that, but there's a lot of music there. It's a 3 CD box set. It's not all the same stuff. You've got Oliver he discovered this great guitar player named Steve Howe that they collaborate with. And then there's 2 things with Gordon Giltrap. One is From a Stage, the other studio, and the one called From a Stage is called From a Stage because it's live. Was that Oliver's wordplay on his own other title, From a Page, Steve? We didn't ask him that, did we?
I don't remember if we asked him, but I think it's pretty obvious that, it's a play on like From a Page, so like From a Stage. It's like there's no way that's not a coincidence. It's his sense of humor at work there, and I dig it. So like we have, like you said, Steve Howe with he and Oliver did this album called The 3 Ages of Magick, which came out July 3rd, 2001. And the Gordon Giltrap studio album Ravens Lullabies came out March 4th, 2013. Wow, and Chris Squire's birthday that year, I guess.
Yeah.
And From a Stage is previously unreleased and recorded live in 2012 and 2013 when Wakeman and Giltrap toured together. So I guess we could go through these chronologically. There are so many tracks, so we might not mention all of them just for the sake of, don't want to halt the momentum, but we'll talk about like what stood out to us and whatnot. But first off, do you want to go over what we think of the packaging first?
Yes. Yeah, let's unpack it. I've got mine right here. And one of the things that is really brilliant about this is I'm a big complainer of oh, Steven said you could just put a period at the end of that, but no, I'm not done. I'm a big complainer of the fact that when we went from vinyl LPs to CDs, the whole world of album art was affected because of the shrinkage. Not like George Costanza in the pool.
I was in the pool.
A different shrinkage. But yet this was done not for vinyl. It was done for this, knowing it would be this size, and it's absolutely brilliant. And we'll show the artwork larger on screen as well. And on the back, you've got your covers of each of those. You open it up, and there's lots of goodies in here. So, for instance, there's 3 items for each album. First, you've got...
It's like I got to be careful whenever I open it is that it doesn't all fall out. It's like,
The first is the album sleeve, and all of mine are still in my truck since we went on that vacation a month and a half ago, whenever it was. So you got the sleeve. Then you got the booklet for each one, which is nice and robust, has liner notes, pictures, lyrics, stories about the album.
Yeah, and about what certain songs mean in the case of the From a Stage performances.
And the track list, you can see the whole artwork there. And then I guess, like a collector card of the art with no text on it or anything.
Right.
Smells like Oliver Wakeman, scratch and sniff. So we've got that for each of the items in there, which I think is great, and just the glossy finish. I happen to love it, Steve. What's your take on it? Is there anything missing? Anything overkill? Is it just the right porridge for you? What's the deal?
I think it's done very well. I mean, just right down to the artwork, you got. I assume that they had Oliver stand in a field of snow with this outfit, with his piano out on the snow, and the Raven on there had to have him stand still so that they could paint him. No, I'm kidding. That's probably not how it happened.
I'm looking at it going, wait a minute.
Yeah, but no, like these are all. This is a great. I think beforehand I was thinking it would be more rectangular, like a Blu-ray type of thing, which silly me. Like, of course it would be like this, like all square because of the sleeves and whatnot. And I like that we still get the original artwork for each of these, Three Ages of Magick and Ravens Lullabies, and we also get. I really love this artwork for From a Stage. It's got like I assume that's a raven, but it's very stylized. And the way that this artwork looks, it reminds me of another illustrator that I've mentioned on this show before who did something that was very Roger Dean influenced. He's Tom Roberts Illustrations over on Instagram. Like his stuff is kind of like this brownish goldish type of style, but for this artwork this was done by Natalia Maroz. I hope I pronounced that correctly, and I dig it. It's like very much captures of, like, I just love the overall vibe of how it looks. So yeah, the packaging is really great. The only thing for me is that I know cursive and can read it, but whenever in the Ravens and Lullabies booklet, the lyrics look like they're slightly like they're very curly and stuff, so it kind of makes it a little bit difficult for me to read certain things.
Oh goodness! And even with literally with this, I've got my reading glasses on and I've got this, and it is difficult to read. I mean, I could see it like this, but like this, I can't read it.
Right, but I do love how, for Three Ages of Magick, he goes over the story of how he ended up working with Steve Howe.
You guys got to check this Steve Howe character out. He's great.
Yeah, it was in the late 90s. They started talking ideas like in 97, I believe. So around the time of Keys 2 and Open Your Eyes. And then Steve got busy, and then they met again around the time of The Ladder in 1999.
So how old would Oliver have been then?
He would have been, so he was born in 72. So
I was going to say, he's like 10 years younger than I am, so.
Yeah, he would have been in his late 20s, yeah.
Yeah. Interesting.
Yeah, so it's a really fun story. Like, he even mentions how he accidentally left a tape with mixes at home when he was supposed to, like, bring it to Steve Howe, and how he was, like, really nervous. And, like, who wouldn't be with Steve Howe being...
the maestro.
Yeah, like he wants things done. Like, but Steve was pretty chill about it, and they just like worked on the Forgotten King, I believe it was, and yeah, it's just a really cool story. And how in the From a Stage booklet, like I said, I love how it talks about each of the songs, like who did it come from? Is it from Oliver's discography or Gordon's discography, and like what it's about. And I wish that pretty much all albums were like that, because sometimes we get studio albums, or like more often than not we get studio albums where if we do get a booklet, it won't say what each song is about, with the story behind each one is, at least in my experience. And so I love having that context there.
Yeah, that's great. So here's an image, whoops, sorry folks, of the whole package. You could see each different album sleeve, and like Stephen said, the collection itself has its own cover, which was smart. That was great. And if Oliver had a hand in this at all, other than approving, if he had a hand in the design and the look and feel at all, kudos to him, because this is put together very well. And here's the front. Why is it doing that? Here's the front. It's great. I love it.
Yeah, I think he at least had a hand in the sleeve design for Ravens and the Lullabies. Like definitely like get these folks, and you can like check out how it looks and all the details. Like it's worth getting.
Yeah.
So beginning with the album he did with Steve Howe, the Three Ages of Magick, I have a bunch of thoughts on this, but what was your overall impression of it, and were there like any standouts for that?
Yeah. Great questions because yes and yes, no pun intended, in many ways. The opening track, Ages of Magick, just like if you've ever lived where it's hot, like I'm in Arizona, Steve's in Bakersfield, California. I lived in Vegas for many years. After your car is locked up for a while and you open it up, you get hit with that heat wave. That's what it's like. It just comes right at you. The sounds are beautiful texturally, and the mix and the production. I still can't believe that it's 21 years old.
Yeah.
It could, someone could have said this was just recorded and I wouldn't question it. The production is that good and that ahead of its time, as are just the instrument sounds and everything. So that I always appreciate. I always listen the way it was mastered, the way it was recorded, the way it was engineered. Does it sound boxy? Does it sound, I like a big fat open live sound. So that was my first impression right away in the first few bars of the song. I love Flight of the Condor. And,
Oh yeah.
you know, I hope this translates correctly, because I mean this as a compliment, not as he's a great emulator of his dad. But when I say that if I didn't know better, I would think that's Rick Wakeman, that is not to say at all that Oliver isn't his own musician and doesn't have his own sound as a composer. He absolutely does. But just certain fingering things and the classic but modernized sounds of the Hammond organ, the Moog synthesizers, it is next generation Rick. It really is. But his composition skills are great, and what a real gem the two of these guys together, both Steve Howe and Oliver. Another track that I really loved was The Whale's Last Dance. And if you really want some contrast right off the bat, listen to those three songs first in that order: Ages of Magick, Flight of the Condor, and then The Whale's Last Dance. And it'll be like, oh, there's lots of nice versatility in here. But how about you? What was your first impression with that first track? And did you... I think you're like me. You listen to everything all the way through. You don't skip through it, right?
Yeah, in fact, recently, within the past month or so, there was an online friend who made a post and it was like, well, what are some albums where you'll skip tracks? And in my head, it's kind of alien to me. Like, I guess I'm really focused on what I want to listen to. Like, I'm good at choosing what I decide to listen to, because I know my genre, my preferred type of music. So I'll check out an album and I feel like I need to give it a fair shake and listen to it from beginning to end. If it's something I like, I'm like, okay, even if there are a couple tracks I don't like as much, then from here on out, I'll still listen to it from beginning to end. And if it's something that I don't like, which rarely happens to me, I'll just not listen to it again. So it's like skipping tracks isn't really a thing for me.
And what I really meant, and thanks for that, but what I really meant was skipping through them. So for example, back when I used to buy vinyl and I first got a record, I would listen to like 20 seconds of one song, 20 seconds of the next song. I would sample each song first and then listen to the album.
Right. Yeah, that's something I never really do. I think the closest I came to it was in like the early 2010s. For example, when Fly From Here was coming out, and online they had like these 30-second samples of each song. And so I listen to those samples to get an idea of what the album was going to sound
Back
like.
in my day, we didn't have samples.
And it really got me hyped. The same with Heaven and Earth, although in that instance, it was more the samples sort of tempered my expectations for that album. So
interesting.
I knew what to expect, but it wasn't like quite like, I'm sure many can relate. I'm kinder to that album than others are, but it did sort of like, I was like, okay, so it's not quite on the level of Fly From Here. Okay, I know kind of what to expect. So
yeah,
so that's kind of the.
And now I do that. Now I do listen from beginning to end. The last album I sampled, skipping through, was the ABWH CD. After that, because the curiosity was just, I had to hear a little bit of everything first, you know?
Yeah, I think I also did like the online samples thing with some of the solo albums when I started exploring them like in the late 2000s, especially like some John Anderson stuff.
Cool.
But yeah, like it's something I don't really do that much, really.
So what was your first impression when you heard the first song?
My first impression was it starts out sounding very spacey, and that's also the impression that I got with Story of I and like some of John Anderson stuff as well. Yeah, it has like that sort of UFO sounding thing. But as that first song progressed, I also got Sir Lancelot and the Black Knight type of vibes. Like,
I never thought of that, but I totally hear that.
Yeah, from Rick's album. And there are a couple other places that did remind me of Rick. I'm just like scrolling through here. Well, maybe I'll get to them later, but like sticking to the beginning. So Mind Over Matter was interesting because you have like that voice on the intercom that's like Dr. Kravitz come to the main lobby, and it's like, oh, I wonder what's going on there.
Yeah.
A couple of you mentioned The Whale's Last Dance. That's one of my top favorites on this. It's got kind of The Meeting vibes on the piano, so again like a little bit of reminiscent of Rick, but then it becomes more of its own thing, and you have the whale sounds which give it a very earthy, natural feel. I forgot to mention in the booklet there are also like photos of a few different reviews of this album, and I think on one of the reviews, maybe in there or elsewhere that I looked up, someone back then was saying how that song is about a whale that's been beached, and that's like a really sad image, but it's like with the title being what it is, it's like, how can it be anything else? And it's like really sad to think about. I think when I first listened to it, I was thinking, at the very least, like by the end, it's back in the ocean and it's happy. And I still would prefer to think that. And it's kind of funny. When we had Oliver on our show, he talked about how much he loved Tormato, and this has kind of reminds me of like Don't Kill the Whale, except it's not punk rock. It's very tonally different, but it's like, yeah, be kind to the whales and whatnot.
It's more like My Peace, Waltz of the Whales. Remember that?
Was that on Places to Go, Things to See?
It was.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
And The Storyteller is another top favorite of mine. And I like how he also includes a demo of that on this release, Dreamweaver. Not to be confused with the popular 70s song, I think is when it came out. But and yeah, I'm just like scrolling through again. We also have more of that aquatic theme with Ludi and the Mermaid. Sorry if I'm moving, it's because there's like a light and I don't want it to be like on my face.
No worries.
Yeah, if you're listening to audio, you won't notice. But the Enchanter is another one where I feel like it could have been on Six Wives of Henry VIII, and I wouldn't question it. It's got like the fast-paced synths. Yeah. But then it kind of takes its own turn. It has like really great drumming, and then becomes really it has some sounds that feel like they're of the funk genre. So it's very adventurous going through those different places. I also got a Circus of Heaven vibe with Through the Eyes of a Child.
Oh, yeah.
It kind of took me off guard when you had like the old-timey feel on the piano, kind of like it's a silent film, and then the adult like walks out of the room, I think, and then the child walks in and I guess tries to play, and it talks about like a genie and dinosaurs, and it sounds very real, like this is what a little child would say, like with all this imagination, and it's just
That's
really
neat.
cool. And My Brie Sale has very sailing and piratey feel to it, and then you get like some really great guitar stuff toward the end that
I like that one a
sounds,
lot too.
yeah, it sounds like I don't know if it's a mandolin, but it sounds like it could be like for a tango dance or something. Like Steve has some great stuff for that.
Yeah.
And of course, Oliver also included Hit and Myth and the Fairy Ring. Apparently, these were cut from the album originally because they didn't feel as like cohesive at like putting different pieces together type of thing. Which I
Excuse
honestly
me. I was
didn't.
yawning. Sorry. You're not boring me. I just haven't slept in a couple days.
Okay.
Sorry.
Like I feel like those songs could have been on the original album, but in any case, I like that they're on this release. So yeah, that's yeah. Oh, did you have anything else to say about
Yeah.
Three Ages of Magic?
Yeah. I would love for them to do more stuff together. They're like a thing, you know. I think they
Yeah,
just did a
Steve
great
and
job.
Oliver.
Totally, yeah. And as a drummer, I always have to listen for that. And Dave Wagstaff does a great job on this.
Yeah, on the drums.
Yeah, and honestly, I'm not knowingly real familiar with his playing or anything.
Yeah, I'm not familiar with most of the musicians on here, but that's the fun of these things. We listen to these albums featuring musicians we're more familiar with, and then we get to look at all these other people on here and see what
Exactly.
they can do.
Exactly. Cool. So we'll move on to Ravens and Lullabies with
Yes.
Gordon Giltrap going back to 2013.
Yeah, interestingly, Rick Wakeman had worked with Giltrap prior to this. They did an album called From Brush and Stone, I believe.
Oh,
So this was
I did not know this.
yeah, so I guess Giltrap was able to perform with a couple different Wakeman men by this point. And this was post Oliver leaving. Yes, I mean we all know how that went down. It was like really weird how it went down, but yeah, this was after that period, and they worked together, and apparently the first track that they co-wrote together was the one at the end, which was Ravens Will Fly Away. It's kind of funny how that worked out, like the last track is the first one they co-write
Yeah.
together. But yeah, what were your impressions with this one?
This also, and my dog's about to go off. Come on, Sash. This also is very eclectic, and it's not all one thing, which which I really appreciate. And if I may, just for a moment, include the next CD, which is From a Stage.
Yeah, there is some overlap with the tracks, so might as well.
Yeah, okay, cool, because it really shows the breadth of the different genres they cover and the spectrum within the genres. When we get to From a Stage, we'll play a lot of that clip that we opened with, because the drumming is awesome. The drumming is great. And I don't know who that is. There's no credits in the video, and I didn't have time to look up to see who it might have been. I have no idea. But it's great. I do love that Benoît David is on this. That's really cool. Nice of him to be able to be included and to go ahead and follow through. And Steve and I don't talk about all this stuff much before we actually do the show. But one thing he did mention was how well he thought Benoît did. And I agree. He really shines there.
Yeah, it's the song From the Turn of a Card, which also ended up on From a Page, but the difference is on the Yes version, it's more stripped down, so that's a duet between Benoît and Oliver. Right. Whereas on this version, on Ravens and Lullabies, you get more instrumentation. Like you even get like some drumming, or I guess percussion. I don't know what the proper term is, but
percussion.
Yeah, and I'm not sure which one I for sure prefer. It might be the From a Page one just because I'm more familiar with it, but it struck me how like the song fits seamlessly on either album, like on the Yes album and on this album with Gordon Giltrap. Like it doesn't feel out of place at all
Right.
the way it's incorporated on either one.
I agree. It doesn't seem to be overly influenced or influenced at all by where it ended up.
Right. Um, yeah, I'm just looking at my notes for Ravens and Lullabies. Like the opening track
I
is
was going to mention that.
yeah, because we saw the video of that a while ago, and
Yeah. It,
funny enough, like today, the Yes official Facebook page actually shared like the teaser trailer thing for collaborations from a couple months ago, and so that was like really funny timing. Even to a point where it made me think, huh, I wonder if someone over there listens to Yesshift and knew that we were going to talk about this
yeah, because
today.
we promoted it. We tagged the page a lot, so they may be peaking from time to time. But if you look at or listen to manufacturing and then listen to some of the much more mellow and almost baroque, renaissancey influenced music with Oliver and Gordon. It's like wow, it's just in yes fashion two completely different bands within the same artist. You know, if you look at Sound Chaser and Turn of the Century, or Wondrous Stories and Siberian Katru, or you know anything else for that matter that rocks out. I love that about this, that it's not one thing. There's nothing on here of the three CDs that are all kind of one sound or one thing or one style, which is great. So when you get this, folks, and you will, across the three CDs, you're not just getting a lot of music in quantity, you're getting a lot of music in volume, not audio loudness wise, but well, you can, but volume as in so many different flavors and colors of music between these projects, and it's great.
Yeah, and just real quick, Chip Ritter says hello from Tucson over on
Chip,
the Drum Talk TV broadcast.
awesome. Chip's a awesome guy, awesome drummer, awesome juggler while he's drumming. What? He's got a
Yeah,
cool lime colored kit by Trick. Yeah, Chip's a solid guy. Thanks, Chip, for following.
yeah, but you make a good point on manufacturing. Like to me, it's very much the going for the one effect. You begin with a
The
very rocky,
commercially,
yeah, it's very rocky, and then you go into like turn of a century, which is very just it's so different and just a different feel. Like
yeah.
you kind of got that going on. Like right after this, we get
Is
Fiona's
Turn of the
Smile.
Century and their song that's akin with that is Turn of the Century an opera without the fat lady, basically?
Oh my
I mean,
gosh.
if well, you know what I mean. The
Yeah,
singing, it's such a the way the story unfolds and the music, you can't really assign it to a time period.
right. Well, in my head, I do imagine it being like an older time
Yeah,
period, like maybe the Renaissance or
yeah,
something.
yeah. Okay, and
But
that's fair because that's I guess what I really meant was that it's not from now. So, and this has elements of that as well. This album.
right, yeah, like Turn of the Century does sound like it's a tragedy, so I could imagine like it could be used for an opera, and yeah, and there are tracks on here that feel like they could have been from a long time ago, like not in a way where the production sounds dated, like it doesn't sound dated at all, but it sounds more like an homage to that type of stuff. Some things sound very like you can imagine like medieval minstrels
Yeah,
playing bits of these.
yeah.
And they also dedicate certain songs to people, like LJW was for Oliver's wife. One for Billy was for Gordon's wife Hillary, and there's which song was it? From there's one song where it was dedicated to an artist named Peter Pritchard. Trying to see like where it is. I just control F that real quick.
No worries.
Okay, wherever there was beauty. Okay, because it was only on From a Stage. I wasn't sure if there's a studio version as well, but yeah. So it's nice that they have these songs that they dedicate to certain people, or like they had people inspire them to do. My two favorites, or I guess top three favorites on Ravens and Lullabies. We already mentioned Ravens Will Fly Away, which I think is a great ending to the thing. But of course, it's before these bonus tracks. But the other two, I would say, are Maybe Tomorrow, which some of the synth on there feels very Tales-like. But overall, the idea of the song is very much about a falling out with a friend, and many of us have been in that position before where we're like, we don't know if things will change, but maybe tomorrow it could be different and we could be friends again. It's that uncertainty of it all. And it just sounds so sublime, that song. And then the other favorite is Anyone Can Fly. It's just very optimistic, and it's like some of these other songs, it does feel like it could be sung as a lullaby, not in a way where it's like, I don't mean that it'll put people to sleep. I mean that it's like sweet dreams feel something nice to listen to that might put more positive thoughts into your head. And
uplifting.
That whole thing that anyone can fly. And I really love how some of the sounds on there go like do 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 do. Like I'm just down with it. I love it. I have like a few other things to say, but did you have anything else, just so I'm not like hawking the whole thing?
Yeah, and that's all right. I see, now you got me kind of. I like Anyone Can Fly a lot. I do agree with Ravens Will Fly Away is a great way to end it. I do like the opening track, Manufacturing, because it was not what I expected. And it's kind of commercially, if you will. But I love Credit Carnival. So let's play that song we have. Let them watch some of that. The personnel on the album, I don't know how much of that is in the video because I'm just not familiar with these other people. I don't know if this is Johan James on drums. I have no idea. But it's Johan James on drums and percussion and his backup band. Steve Amadeo on bass guitar, Benoît David on vocals, Paul Manzi on vocals, Gordon Giltrap on acoustic and electric guitars, and of course Oliver Wakeman on piano, keyboards, and backing vocals too, which is cool.
It's the Ravens Lullaby credits.
It did a great job too. Let's check this out. Hey, let's start from the beginning. that's all you get, folks. So,
Yeah, and I'm not sure if you read this bit, but Credit Carnival was originally written for Yes.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, during his time with the band, it was inspired by when they went to a casino to perform, I guess. And so that whole vibe of the casino sort of inspired Credit Carnival. And apparently there wasn't much work done with it for Yes. Like Oliver talked about at some point how there were some lyrics and like just a bit from Steve. And I don't know if there's like a recording of that anywhere, but it's hard for me to imagine this song Yesified. I don't know if you have that issue as well, but
I'd have to think it through and listen to it. But when I think of New State of Mind from Open Your Eyes, I think anything is possible. You know?
Right.
But I did look up. That is Johann James on drums. I looked him up. And he has been with a band called Threshold since the year 2000. He joined the band officially, replacing Mark Heaney in 2001 to record the album Hypothetical, which occurred after having toured with the band to support the albums Extinct Instinct and Clone. So he's done those 3 albums with them. So I think I want to learn more. Stop that. I want to... Sorry, folks. Learn more about him and have him on Drum Talk TV, and a left-handed drummer to boot. Really good, like right away with that opening fill, and just the tightness and how in sync he is. Great job, Johann. Honestly, that was really cool.
Yeah, and sorry, I was just about to say, and I did some digging regarding the bonus tracks for Ravens and Lullabies. Apparently, a while ago, on a previous release of the album, the bonus disc was kind of different. Like, it had a couple more tracks. I assume that some of the tracks that ended up on here were moved to From a Stage because they're live, and we have like a couple of them on Ravens and Lullabies here. But the ones I notice are missing, according to this list, are a couple live tracks called Progress of the Soul, which is an Oliver Wakeman song, and On Camber's Sands, which is a Gordon Giltrap song. So I'm wondering if there was a reason they're not on this box set release. Like maybe they were put on something else that's been released recently. Like, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't think this is the case, but I would hate to hear that it had to do with publishing and it not being released to them to use on this or something. I hate that shit.
Oh, like licensing.
Yeah, exactly. But a lot of people also don't know that the instrumental, the Wedding Approaches, this is why Tormato is his favorite Yes album, because that song, he wrote that when he was 6, and it was almost on Tormato.
Wait, what?
Just kidding. That's a great song, though. I like that.
Yeah, I love it. So I guess we could get into
the live.
Yeah, From a Stage. So go ahead and well, and we should say that Paul Manzi sings some of the songs on this. I especially loved how passionate he sounded on the song. I think it's called If You're Leaving. Like just how, yeah, he's like really passionate sounding on If You're Leaving, and just that whole thing of like, if you're gonna leave now, do it quickly because I can't take this no more. It's just so raw and real, you know?
The lyrics are good too.
But yeah, what are your overall thoughts on the live material here?
Well, I love it. And if you don't mind, while I'm talking about, drop in the link to this video, Gordon Giltrap and Oliver Wakeman live at Huntingdon Hall.
Yeah.
It's on Oliver's official YouTube channel. And I don't think it's an officially released recording, but we played it safe, so we're not going to broadcast it so it doesn't get muted. But it is beautiful. And when you think of Credit Carnival and then you watch just the two of them doing some of this stuff, it's again the versatility. I always appreciate versatility in musicians, and this is just a great, really wide spectrum. I think it's cool. Picture of a Lady, I love that. Dodo's Dream. The only time I can remember reading and seeing and hearing Dodo in another song happened to be the Genesis song Dodo. Like that's one of those rare.
Go figure.
What's that?
Oh, I said go figure.
Yeah, exactly. Glimmer of Light. There's some really beautiful stuff on here, and contrasting music, as we mentioned, between these two albums. What are your thoughts? Sorry, and it's nice to see them reproduce the stuff live, and that it's not just let's get together, make an album, and then move on. My God, I'd love to see him and Steve Howe do that with all that material.
Yeah, I love how this is a good mix of, not just Ravens and Lullabies, but also you got a couple tracks from 3 Ages of Magick. I think at least a couple tracks, but you also got stuff from Oliver's solo discography, so like apart from 3 Ages of Magick, and Gordon's own discography. And Gordon Giltrap has been releasing stuff for a long time. He's been active since like the late 1960s, and to be honest, I wasn't aware of him before.
Me neither.
Learning of his work with Oliver Wakeman, so it's like there's like this whole other dimension that I need to get into now, because like
it's called a parallel universe. And the fact that he had worked with Rick, like I had never heard of him, I had no idea.
Yeah, so it's like I gotta check out more of him because I love what he plays on here. He has such great guitar stuff, and there's like one of these songs where they use one of those loop things, and you can hear him saying, with the loop machine, I will sound like a one-man Pink Floyd. This was on Dodo's Dream, actually, which that song kind of has Awaken vibes in my head.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like the beginning made me think of Pink Floyd a little bit. I don't know if it was because he said it, but as it kept going, I was like, this kind of reminds me of Awaken a little bit.
Yeah, that's interesting. I was looking over here because I have that video that Steve dropped the link in, and there's no track listing, which I wish there was. Well, let me... Yeah, this isn't official. We should have flown some of it in. But folks, check it out. Not now, after the interview. And Steve, when people get the audio version of this on our anchor.fm/Yesshift channel, you like that plug? Are you able to put accompanying links like this in there?
Yeah, I do that literally every time.
Okay, well, I don't listen to our audio version. I see I don't know.
Yeah, I should also mention that at the beginning of From a Stage, the person who's introducing Oliver and Gordon is Stephen Lamb himself, who we interviewed on the, author of Yes in the 1980s.
Yeah.
Yeah, because he's part of that Classic Rock Society, which that show was related. Yeah.
So, if Steve Howe and Oliver toured that album, even like in the future, even if there was such a thing called Yes, featuring John Anderson, Trevor Rabin, and Rick Wakeman, could they call themselves Yes, featuring Steve Howe and Oliver Wakeman? They were both in Yes.
You're like opening a can of worms there. Yeah, because I know that Steve co-owns the trademark, so...
So allow me to take it one step.
That's the thing, though. I don't know if he would do it, though.
Right. You know what? He probably wouldn't. And I would respect the reasons that I am making up in my head that are probably the reasons why. But let me ask this real quick. If they did that, what 2 or 3 Yes songs do you think they could play that would be a fit with that album?
Ooh, that's a good question.
I think one of them would have to be something that Oliver recorded with them. At least one of them would have to be.
Yeah.
Maybe his original version of Fly From Here, or, one of those from that album.
Right, because he's only on a couple of tracks there. He's on Into the Storm, Hour of Need, and I think on the, We Can Fly From Here parts, he's doing background keyboards. But in terms of, what would fit with the 3 Ages of Magick material, maybe Hour of Need would fit. If it's something from a page, I think the best fit would be Words on a Page. Like it's very mellow and has amazing guitar stuff, but it like I could see them doing that instrumentally, but I would also love for someone to be singing on it, you know. And I know that Benoît is retired, so I guess he wouldn't be able to do it. So maybe they'd have John Davison guest or something like. I don't know. Maybe it could work instrumentally, and I just can't imagine it without the words because I just love it with the words, you know.
Yeah.
But
it'd be interesting to get Trevor Horn to do it.
Yeah, but it's funny that you mentioned the whole Yes name thing, because something that Jeffrey Mason pointed out like within the past day or so was that a couple of the venues, like two of the venues on the current Yes tour, are saying that they're playing all of Relayer because, you know, that was what they were originally going to do before changing Close to the Edge. And not only that, but one of those two venues put out a video as like a promo, so like, you know, buy tickets for this.
Don't say what you're going to say.
It said they're playing all of Relayer, but also the footage was of ARW playing Owner of a Lonely Heart.
Oh my God. How out of it can they be? Seriously.
Yeah, I was cringing. It was just like, yikes.
What kind of shit do you think they caught from Yes tour management? They must have ripped them new ones and maybe said they'd never play that venue. That is just so irresponsible. Don't they like receive the materials from the band, but no, they could just take it upon themselves.
Yeah, like did they not get the revised memo or at least know who would be playing? Like
show a video of Yes featuring Peter Banks and Francis Monkman or something. I mean, that's just so out of line. That's ridiculous.
Yeah. Oh, also, just now, Brian Cahoon said, "Good evening, gentlemen."
Good evening, Brian Cahoon. Thanks for tuning in.
Right, but I have like something else tangentially Yes related I'll bring up. But is there anything else you want to say about From a Stage?
I'd like to hear a single of Words from a Page from a Stage. No, I just between the two, I like that one best, and one of the reasons is because I just love live music, and I love that this video made me really fall in love with it even more. So that's my 3 cents on it, but it's all great. It's all great stuff.
Yeah, and again, it's very eclectic. There's even like a bit on Roots that reminds me of world music, and of course that's from Gordon's discography. And apparently, Heart Song has been. You know, that's one of his songs, and it's been used for like this holiday program for like British TV. So there you go. But yeah, so that's collaborations. It's a really great box set. Oliver was saying, "I hope you enjoy it," and I think it's clear that we did. So
absolutely. And here it is again, folks, in case you missed it. Wonderful packaging, just a wonderful collection of music. Definitely, if you're a fan at all of any of these artists, go ahead and get it. It'll be well worth it, and it's great as a package. Like I said, I still have all 3 CDs in my truck.
Yeah. So before we wrap up on Oliver, just the quick thing I want to mention was the other day I saw this article from Far Out Magazine where it was like it was about Geddy Lee, and it said the songs that shaped Geddy Lee's bass playing. And there were 2 Yes songs and a Bill Bruford song listed on there. So I don't know if you want to take a guess or.
So what is the Bill Bruford song?
Joe Frazier.
Oh, that's interesting. So I did not see this article. Let me think of. I know that Chris was one of his biggest influences, if not his biggest. So, is Sound Chaser one of them?
No.
The Revealing Science of God?
Nope.
America?
No.
All Good People?
No.
The Clap?
No.
Roundabout?
No.
Tell me what album it's from or lineup. At least with the lineup, you get 2 albums.
One of them
at
is
a time.
from Fragile.
Oh, Heart of the Sunrise.
Yeah.
Yeah, that
And
makes
the
sense.
yeah, and the other is from Time and a Word.
I'm not really great with that track list. Oh, I think it's Time in a Word.
No.
Oh, because I remember Geddy in an article or interview talking about that specifically, that's what first got him hooked on Yes was the bass line in Time of a Word. That's why I thought it was
interesting.
That. Yeah. So what is it then?
No opportunity necessary, no experience needed.
Duh.
Yeah, that is a tough one though.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's it's just nice to see that on his list. And of course, this came out around the anniversary of Chris's passing, and there were nice tributes posted by fans, and of course, we miss him very much, obviously.
Yeah. I'm guessing he also had 1 or 2 Who songs on there.
I see at least one of them right now.
And I'm gonna guess a Cream song. Jack Bruce.
Okay, there are 2 Who songs, and there is 1 Cream song.
Okay, one Cream song and 2 Who songs.
Yeah.
Okay, so the Cream song I'm gonna guess is Crossroads.
Yeah.
Okay, and the Who song is
Yeah, and there are 2 of them.
It's escaping me. One of them is the woman's name.
No.
Is it super obvious, like We Won't Get Fooled Again?
No. There is an obvious one, I think.
Yeah, and it's on their... I have it here, but I won't cheat. It's on that album they did. What is it? I can't remember.
So one of them is My Generation, and the other is The Real Me.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and looking at Brian Cahoon's comments, I see that he also read that about Geddy, what you said earlier.
Oh, cool.
And he also guessed Crossroads for Cream. He also guessed SWBLR at some point. I'm not really sure what that is.
I think it's an acronym. SW. I gotta write it down. SWBLR.
Yeah. I'm not so good with that at the moment, so I don't know what he's referring to.
I don't know. Let us know, Brian. Now I'm curious. One last little note on that. When they recorded that album, what was that album called? That extra in-between album with their influences, the Cream and the Who, and what was it?
Yeah, that was it was something weird. Like Feedback, that's what it was.
Feedback. When they recorded that, they wanted to totally get in the mood, so they laid out a bunch of like Persian rugs, and they had a bunch of lava lamps and incense and totally 60s out, or who knows what else.
Yeah, that's a Rush album I always forget exists.
Yeah, and there's a couple live tracks from the either was it the Snakes and Arrows album live version of that? I think I get the time context mixed up, but yeah, there's a couple Crossroads and another Who song. I can hear it in my head.
Yeah, I'm gonna look up the
Summertime Blues. Dun, 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 dun. It's so good too. It is so good.
Okay, yeah, The Seeker and
The Seeker's great on there.
Right, but anyway, all that's to. I guess I'll bring us back on track. But again, check out Oliver Wakeman's collaborations box set and his.
We should talk about that. Feature it on an episode.
Yeah, and check out more of his solo stuff as well. I saw that the other day. He made this post where he said, "Going to start on the arrangement work for the new album today, starting to put together a collection of nice musicians for it. More news to follow as it develops." So we know that he's working on a new soul album, and I think I heard somewhere that he's working on something with Celtic music. So those might be 2 separate things, but in any case, really excited for those. And I'm pretty sure that this next solo album would be his first one since the time he first joined Yes, which is weird to think about.
How long ago was that? 10, 12 years ago?
Yeah, he was with them 2008 to 2011.
Wow.
Yeah, so I guess that would end up being part of our series where we talk about first solo albums Yes members made after.
That's right. That's right. We'll have to have him on for that.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, he was a great interview. It was a great cast.
Yeah, I'll go ahead and link the interview we did to him after this. But
okay.
Yeah, and lots of stuff to look forward to. Like we said, the solo album series we've been doing, we're planning on doing the Elias of Sun Hilo episode on July 5th at, I believe it's 5:30 p.m. Pacific, tentatively.
It is. You're correct. 5:30 Pacific U.S., 8:30 Eastern U.S., and a big show on the 11th, our 1 year anniversary.
Yeah. Am I allowed to say what we talked about, what we're going to do for that?
Sure, because I don't remember.
Okay, so...
You could squeak a little bit of it out. Can you give an abridged version, or you want to just barf it all out? Either way is fine with me.
All right, so it's going to commemorate two things, and for that reason, we're titling it Going for the 1 year anniversary. So
there's your hint.
I think you can gather from that what we're going to do, but yeah, cool stuff. And feel free to send in some thoughts on the show, maybe what your favorite episodes are. If you'd like, you can email yesshiftpodcast@gmail.com. I almost said the email for my other podcast by accident. And you can listen to us on pretty much various podcast apps. I know there's a weird thing on Anchor, Val's pointed out to me, where if you use the Anchor mobile app, it'll only show up to the episodes up to December. I think that was before I started uploading the video files. But if you go to Anchor on desktop or in a web browser on your phone, you'll see every episode. So
50. This is episode 50 plus the news desk episodes, which means I don't have the folder in front of me, but I'm going to guess we've done at least 10 news desks. So we probably have done 60 60 to 65 episodes. It's crazy.
Yeah, definitely.
Wow. How do we get any other work done, or do we?
Yeah. Oh, Brian says the abbreviation was for She Walks Like a Bearded Rainbow. So.
Oh, I never would have guessed that.
Right.
Okay, thanks.
Right. But yeah, I think that's pretty much all the plugs. You can also check out the Yesshift YouTube channel where we upload the video after the fact, or keep following the Facebook page where we go live, and we also post some links to articles that we see regarding Yes and Yes members.
And they can buy me a new candle or buy you new earbuds, right?
Right, yeah, they can support us by leaving us a little something at anchor.fm/yesshift and clicking on the support button. So, yeah, I think that'll do it. Really glad to finally be able to review this box set. It's really great. Go out and buy it.
Absolutely. We'll close with more of Credit Carnival.